Today's topic is Visioning Your Life Part 2. Identify and activate your superpowers before you set your goals with Giovanna Rossi.
Welcome to the Well Woman Show, where we interview women executives, leaders, and entrepreneurs.
And you're listening to the Well Woman Show,
where motivated women achieve fulfillment and well-being.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
Take time for myself by coming to things like Well Woman Drinks.
To be accepting of myself no matter what. Step away from judgment as much as possible.
You're listening to the Well Women Show.
You're going to be in for a good ride. I don't regret anything. Everything I've ever done, I've learned from it, one way or another, good or bad.
Being a little bit selfish for yourself, put your own oxygen mask on first and then give what's left.
I'm a woman. I would prefer to tell my own story. My story, though it's very personal, is universal.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show. And now your host, Giovanna Rossi.
Hi, Giovanna Rossi here, and welcome to another episode of the Well Woman Show, where I interview women leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs about their lives and their road to becoming and being who they are today. Are you feeling burned out or finding it hard to focus on your goals? Or are you in transition? Well, you're not alone. We all need to activate our superpowers. These are the internal strengths and abilities we all already have but don't use all the time. Superpowers can be cultivated, and they include empathy, love, intuition, courage, and more. As always, this episode is brought to you by Well Woman Life, a global community of women living our best lives. Whether it's your health, relationships, your money, or making an impact in your community and the world, Well Woman Life has you covered. You've made a commitment to not settle, to use your voice, and to live your best life. Well Woman Life offers annual memberships, workshops, and retreats to support you. Check out wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join our growing community. Now back to the show. Today's topic is Visioning Your Life Part 2. Identify and activate your superpowers before you set your goals. And hopefully by the end of the show, you'll be inspired to look deeply at your own unique superpowers and implement my framework to move forward with what you desire in your life. Now, this is part 2 of the Visioning Your Life podcast series. So part 1 was back at episode 059. So definitely check that out as well. You can listen to this episode either before or after that one. It doesn't matter which order, but I definitely want you to know that there's a part 1 at 059. With a background in systems and policy, as well as working in women's health and rights for 20 years, I developed a framework to explain how our internal superpowers interact with the external environment or supports in order to determine which stage of life we're in on our journey and what to do to move forward. So in this episode, I talk about universal superpowers, your unique superpowers, and identify which stage of life you're in and which superpowers to activate. So this is going to be a really fun show. I'm excited to share this with you. I've been developing this framework for quite a while now. I introduced it last year at the retreat last fall, and I've been developing it and working on it. So I'm excited to share it with you. The free giveaway is a worksheet you can use to implement what I talk about on the show, and you can get it at wellwomanlife.com/079show. Definitely, if you're at your computer and able to go and print that out now, you can, so you can use it while you're listening. Otherwise, no worries. You can check it out after if you're driving or walking or folding laundry or whatever you're doing while you're listening to the podcast. You can download it afterwards and still get full benefit from it. So I really like this giveaway because it's very hands-on. And if you take the time to complete it, you'll really be in good shape to tackle the things in your life that you've been wanting to work on. So before we begin, I want to let you know that this year's Superpower Retreat will be October 26th and 27th in New Mexico. So save the date and check out wellwomanlife.com/events for more information. You can also join the conversation in the Well Woman Life community group at wellwomanlife.com/Facebook. Now let's get started. Hello. It's Giovanna here, and welcome to the solo show on Visioning Your Life. And I'm super excited to bring you this show specifically on activating your superpowers. And what I want to tell you about is that it's super important to identify and activate your superpowers before you set your goals. So we're all very, as high achieving women, we're very into setting our goals and implementing and getting to the action. But actually, we really do need to take a step back and identify and activate those inner powers, those inner superpowers that we have before we get into action and before we set those goals. Because without getting quiet and listening within, we sometimes make bad decisions, right? Has that ever happened to you? I know it has for me. And when I get too out there and action-oriented, action all the time, I tend to let the other really powerful inner strengths go by the wayside. And when that happens, you just don't tend to accomplish the goals that you set out to. So I want to take you through this process of identifying and activating your superpowers before you set your goals and before you take action. Now, if you're having a hard time taking action right now, then, definitely listen to this show, but you might be in a different stage, which is fine, but you might be needing to take action. You may be in a slightly different stage. So listen up closely, identify where you are, and then you can figure out what you need to be working on. I want to make sure you have a couple of things in front of you, or at least that you're aware of them. If you're driving or you're at the gym or something, then don't worry about it right now, but you can always go back to it. But I do want to draw your attention to the part one of this show was actually 059 show. So wellwomanlife.com/059 show. You can go there and get the first part of this show, which is all about visioning your life. And there's a handout that you can download to do that. And then this show, the freebie, is helping you identify your superpowers. And that is at 079 show. So you can go to wellwomanlife.com/079 show. Download that, press pause on this podcast if you want to go grab it, and then take a look at it, and then listen to the rest of the show once you have it. Now, again, if you're driving or at the gym or out walking, don't worry about it. Just keep listening, and you can download the worksheet later when you get home. Okay, so I hope you're ready to jump in. The first thing I want to start with is the idea of power. I know that for a lot of women, power is a concept that some women are really comfortable with, and others are really not comfortable with. And sometimes power means different things. And so historically, it has meant power over someone or something. And that's the kind of power that makes a lot of us uncomfortable. So what I want to talk to you about is my definition of power. And I actually love thinking of power in terms of the source or means of supplying energy. And if you think about it that way, finding your power, stepping into your power, the source or means of the supply of your energy, it's just something that is really positive and a place that most of us want to be. I also like Martin Luther King's definition, which is the ability to achieve purpose or to affect change. So I love that definition too. And so I use the word power a lot in my work, and I use the word superpower a lot. I know you've heard me talk about it, talk about superpowers. And what I want to tell you about superpowers is that everybody has superpowers. This is not something that only Wonder Woman has or only Superman. We all have superpowers, and it's just a matter of tapping into them and activating them. So as humans and as women, we have these internal superpowers. We just don't always use them, or we use them sometimes and then, then we don't. And we go through different stages in our lives where we use some more than others at different times. And the other thing I want to say about this is we really need to get away from this idea that you have to always get your tools and your power from external sources. I really want you to start thinking about how we can generate our own power, our own source, our own energy. We can generate that ourselves. We really can. We have the power. So I'm going to tell you about the different superpowers that we all have that we don't necessarily all use. And before I do that, I want to talk about the other major area that I like to talk about when I talk about superpowers, which is supports. So I think in the self-help industry and in personal development, there's a big focus on individual work and inner work, which is great. So I love that, definitely. But that's not all that there is for me. To me, there's definitely a variable or an impact or an influence from external supports or challenges, but I'm just going to stick with external supports for right now. And so what I want to say is that external supports can come into our lives in various forms and in different parts of our lives. And so in our personal lives, in our family, our health, our home, our sexual relationships, our intimate relationships, we can have those external supports appearing in those places, right? So an example would be, I'm trying to work on my business, and do I have any external support in my family for me to work on my business and reach my business goals? Well, the question there would be, okay, have I had the conversation with my partner, with my husband, about what his support looks like? Is he giving me the space for a couple of hours on a Sunday to record my show? Is that counts as, external support? So the level to which you have external supports in your personal life is very, very important when we talk about being able to really achieve what we want in our lives. So it has to do with your inner superpowers and your external supports. And the way those two things interact can determine a lot in terms of how much we succeed at what we want to do. So the other area of external supports is in your professional life. So your education, your career, your money, all of those areas. So your supports in your career or in your business could be how supportive, how well-functioning your team is right now. That could be on a scale of 1 to 10. You could say, my team is at an 8 right now because they're well-trained, for various reasons. I have a great team right now. So that could be an area within the professional realm to look at your external supports. The third area to look at your external supports is in the public domain. So this is all of the stuff we do out in the public, in the community, in charities, nonprofit organizations, boards we sit on, the PTA, whatever we're doing out in the community, volunteering, running for office. I know we have some women in the community here who are running for office or are holding office. They're elected officials. So all of this is in the public domain. And so this also includes policies. So how, to what extent are the policies that are in place at a community or a national or an international level, to what extent are those supporting us and our efforts? Or to what extent are they challenging? So that's another area to think about. So that's just a little bit on external supports. And then I want to talk about the universal superpowers that I referred to earlier. And there really are 4 universal superpowers. And I call them universal because they're very different from unique superpowers. So universal superpowers are things that all of us have. We all have access to these. We just don't always use them or activate them. And these are different from unique superpowers in that unique superpowers are specific things that you are skilled at, or you have a great ability or expertise in that you can easily help someone else with. Those are your unique superpowers, and we'll deal with those separately on a different show, probably. A lot to cover. But for now, we're just going to focus on the universal superpowers, which are superpowers that are universal to everybody. Everybody has access to these. And the first one is acceptance. Acceptance, which is an openness. It's a loving state to be in. It's not pushing. It's accepting. It's in flow. All of those things. It's very receptive. Again, like I said, open. So that's your acceptance superpower. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. The second superpower is awareness. So awareness is, expanded consciousness. It's really, it's where we do a lot of our meditation. It's when we get really good and practiced at it, we can really become aware, self-aware, and also aware of what's going on around us without reacting right away, without being defensive, without judging. We can just bring things into our awareness. That's the second superpower. The third superpower is intuition. And intuition, or that inner wisdom, or that knowing with capital K-N-O-W, that knowing where you really just have a sense of what you just know the answer to whatever the question is, and you didn't really have to think about it. It just simply is there. It's that inner wisdom, that inner knowing. And intuition is very interesting, isn't it? Because we all have it at certain times. And then sometimes, at least for me, I have, and for other people I know, because I've talked to a lot of people about it, I have thought to myself, where's my intuition on this? What's going on here? I don't seem to know. I don't seem to have any wisdom on this. And if you're asking that question, then you're already in the awareness state, which is good. If you're not asking that question and you're going through life on autopilot, then you're going to head into burnout pretty quick. But for me, intuition is something that is cultivated, is practiced, and is nurtured, because when we have it, we can get to that state of flow and acceptance and love pretty easily. And when we don't have it, we get stuck and we're pushing and and things are very difficult. So that's the third superpower. The fourth one is action. Yes, we do get an action superpower for all of you high achieving women out there. I know we love to take action, right? We love to take action. And actually, action is great. We don't achieve very much if we don't take action. And sometimes, that's a problem. But for most of us, taking action can be something that we jump to before we're ready, before we've really developed our awareness and our intuition. And when we do that, we make bad decisions. We take action that's ineffective. We can hurt other people, relationships. So that's a really powerful superpower, that action superpower. And it has to be looked at in that way. So I want to just touch on something that I hear a lot of people talking about: taking massive action, just make it happen, just take action and, do it now, think about it later, that kind of thing. For me, that's very male-dominated, male-centric in terms of masculine energy to try to take action no matter what, do it fast, do it now. To me, I think we need to slow down and make sure we have the awareness and the intuition and the acceptance, and then take the action, and we'll be way more effective. So I want to push back a little bit on those folks out there who are telling you to take massive action. Just, some action is better than no action. I actually don't agree with that. I don't think that we should sit around forever and procrastinate. That's a whole other issue. But I don't think that just taking action for the sake of it is the answer. And that certainly isn't tapping into our innate inner superpowers. So, having said all of that, I want to now walk you through the 4 stages of the well woman life cycle. And I'd like you to think about your internal superpowers and your external supports as I talk about these 4 stages. And when you print your worksheet out, if you don't have it in front of you, when you get it, you'll see that there's a little bit of a worksheet here that asks you some questions, and you can actually plot on a diagram to find out which stage you're in. As I talk about them, you might identify the stage that you're in, which is awesome. But if you don't worry, you can work it out on the worksheet. And you might be in different stages for different things in your life. So that's okay. That's exactly where it should be. But the idea here is to really identify what stage you're in for a specific issue or challenge that you're having or situation, so that you can identify what superpower you need to be activating and where you are and what you should be doing next. So this is a little bit of a guide to doing that. So the first stage of the well woman life cycle is the receptive stage. And this aligns very much with the superpower of acceptance. It's very open, it's loving, it's not pushing, or as Byron Katie says, it's not at war with life. In my recent interview with her, she talked about being at war with life and how when she discovered to just love what is, she stopped being at war with life and she was in flow instead. And so this is the receptive stage. This is sort of the ideal, this is where it's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice place to be. For whatever you're working on, whether it's your personal life or your professional life. So that's the receptive stage. The responsive stage is very quick to react to external stimuli. It's expansive, it's external, it's very reactive. It's where we are when we're in burnout, frankly. So if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're not following some of the steps that I've given in the past for living a well woman life, we can head into burnout pretty quickly. And I know a lot of you have been there, or you're getting out of it, or you don't want to ever, go back there. So that's the responsive stage. The third stage is passive. And passive is sometimes thought of in a negative way, but this is actually not negative at all. It's the stage we're in when we go inside, we hibernate, we contract, we just are. We just want to be with ourselves. And I call it lingering because it's, there's no agenda. You can sit out in your garden with nothing, no journal, no book, nothing, and just be with yourself. Or go for a walk and do the same thing. That is that critical white space that if you've heard people talk about the white space where you just give yourself a break, just unplug and go inside and just be. And this is super important. This is such an important stage, and it's one that we often pass over because we want to get to the next stage, which is active, which aligns with the action superpower. So in the active stage, we have gone through, awareness, we've gone through intuition, and now we're ready for action. This is a big time of transition, possibly. It's a time of change. It's where you put into action all of the work that you've done in the other stages. And you now have the wisdom to take right action, to take the action that's going to move you forward and to make good decisions. And it's an expansive stage. It's an exciting stage. And it's, if you think of it as a circular life cycle, after the active stage, you go back to receptive, which is open and loving and not at war with life and in flow. So those are the 4 stages. You can definitely look more into that on the worksheet that's at 079 show. So just go to wellwomanlife.com/079 show and fill out the worksheet. And what I want to propose to you is that you come, go check that out, and then come inside the Facebook group where we'll be discussing this. And what I'd love for you to do is leave a comment inside the Facebook group at wellwomanlife.com/Facebook. You can join the group there, free group, and tell me what stage are you in, or what superpower are you working on? I'd love to know. And I'll be picking a winner to do a private coaching session with me. So definitely get your comments in there. I'll probably wait a week or two after this show airs to get some comments and things and pick a winner. And I would love to hear from you, to hear where you are. And then finally, I want to give you 4 little activators for your superpowers. And so in the first stage, which is the receptive stage, the activator is love. So acting in love, acting from a place of love instead of fear. And the second activator for the second stage is listening. So that stage where we're responsive and reactive and defensive and burned out, the activator here is listen. So it's kind of the opposite of what you're, where you are. You want to take no action. You want to start really bringing in that awareness. The third activator is, I already talked about it a little bit. It's in the passive stage, and it's lingering. It's the opposite of fighting. It's not necessarily doing anything, but it's pausing and it's sitting and being with yourself. It can be kind of dark, if you're depressed right now, you might be in this stage. But it's not bad. This is not a bad place to be. This is a place to embrace it and be with it. And then you can move out of it, but, don't dismiss it too quickly. And the fourth and final activator is leap. And I say leap because it's the active stage. And so it's fun, it's joyful, it's light, it's making it happen, it's not taking life too seriously. You've done a lot of your inner work. You've got the wisdom to now take good actions and make good decisions. And it's a fun, joyful stage. So those are the 4 that I wanted to share with you. I have had such a great time recording this show for you. I love talking about this. I often talk about this on other shows and when I give talks, and I'm actually going to be diving deep into these at the Superpower Retreat in October 26th and 27th in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. So if you think you're up for it, it's going to be so much fun. And we have really top-notch, fabulous speakers coming to help us. And it's going to be just a great time. And you can go to the website to check it out, wellwomanlife.com/retreat. And if you think it's right for you, I would love to see you there. Being a well woman includes being financially healthy. Our sponsors, Lorraine L. and Kate Stelter of Better Money Decisions, are on a mission to eliminate complexity and confusion from your financial life. They replace Wall Street jargon with straightforward talk you can understand, and they create investment and retirement plans customized for your needs and your future. Download a free copy of their latest book, Don't Let Your Money Kick the Bucket Before You Do, and learn how to avoid the biggest mistakes women make when planning for retirement. Go to bettermoneydecisions.com/wellwoman and download your free book today. That's it for our show today. Remember, if you need support to live your well woman life, head over to wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join us. Our monthly live event, Well Woman Drinks, brings women together to share our successes and challenges as women, leaders, moms, aunts, sisters, and all the other roles we carry. If you'd like to attend a Well Woman Drinks near you, or if there isn't one in your city yet and you'd like to start one, email info@wellwomanlife.com. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment and subscribe in iTunes and leave a review. This helps raise visibility, which is super helpful when it comes to producing the show every week. For feedback, comments, or just to let me know you were listening today, find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @WellWomanLife. I'm Giovanna Rossi for The Well Woman Show. Until next time, have a super powerful week.